Alright, trying something a little bit different format-wise, the way this is set up. I'm constantly experimenting with the way I do videos on the channel. Recently I started being able to put video game gameplay as backing to some of my commentary videos, so there's actually something visually interesting to pay attention to on those. And this is the first time I'll be doing a game, I'm going to call it more of a game recommendation, or like, I don't want to call it a review, because if you pay attention to my channel, the games that I have reviewed, honestly, when I look back at it, they're all kind of glowing reviews. And basically, I tend to talk about the games that I like. So they're pretty biased in terms of a review. I feel like a review should be something a little bit more objective, where you're playing something, you don't have that much invested, and you're picking out the flaws and all these sorts of things. That to me is a review. So while I will sometimes mention things that I don't like about a game, for the most part, I'm really only talking about games that I really like. And I'll tell you, oh, this is a good game, go try it, it's good. You'll rarely see anything pop up on my channel that's like, oh, this is a really bad game, it's a 1 out of 10, don't play it, whatever. Unless I feel like really strongly against something I played, the problem is I won't put the time into playing it to truly create a review, if that makes sense. Like if I play something for like 30 minutes or an hour and I'm like, God, this game is shit, then I'm probably just going to turn it off and delete it and move on. But a game I like, I'm going to actually play into and invest something and then come back and be able to tell you, man, this is a really good game. So from here on, I may change the perspective to, instead of a review, more of a game recommendation. That being said, this is Borderlands 3. This is my level, I'm at level 20 at this point, playing as a gunner. And this has been my experience so far and what I like about this game. And obviously it's not a complete review or experience, because things are going to be limited when it comes to the type of character you play, the character class, and then of course, like I said, I'm only level 20, so at some point I'll be a level 60 or whatever and played the whole game and gotten into DLC, and I may basically make continuations of this recommendation and come back to it, or be like, hey, I finally played this DLC and it was really awesome, it's definitely worth buying, or getting the season pass, whatever. So all that being said, so far I am loving Borderlands 3. I am a pretty big fan of this series. I'm a little late to the game with Borderlands 3, and I'll explain that. But I've basically, I love both of the original games, but I got into the series at Borderlands 2, just before Borderlands 2 came out. Basically, I saw the trailers for it at that E3. I was like, wow, this game looks really cool. I don't know why I've never played this. Turned out that at that time, my dad actually owned the original Borderlands, but had never really gotten into it. He didn't like it that much. So I borrowed it from him, and me and another friend of mine played through on co-op, and we loved it. We just sped through the original campaign so that we'd be ready for the launch of Borderlands 2. And then, of course, this is back when you still did like midnight launches for games at GameStop and all that, so I did the midnight launch for Borderlands 2. Borderlands 3 was a little bit different situation. I didn't quite have the money for it when it came out, and then 6 months later or so, there was a sale on the Xbox store, and it was like 50% off. So I went ahead and bought it and got the season pass. I started to play it a little bit, but then, I don't know, I didn't like having to choose between resolution and performance, because for a shooter, you definitely want the high frame rate as much as you can, but at the same time, there was a pretty drastic difference between looking at this game in, what was supposed to be 4K resolution and like 1080p-ish. I don't know. It was a big deal. And so it was enough for me to say, you know what? The next generation consoles are going to come out, and at that point, I won't have to worry about this. And sure enough, that's true. I have the Series X. I was previously playing on the One X. And now, what's really nice is you can play this game on the Xbox Series X and play it on resolution mode. Get the high quality graphics, high quality lighting and resolution, and it looks crisp, clear, and all that sort of thing. And it's still playing, from what I can tell, at a pretty consistent 60 frames per second. So you're getting a very good shooter experience on a console and not really compromising anything. That's the way to play it, in my opinion. And of course, this game got specific Series X enhancements as well, so that's good. So first, probably one of the first things I want to talk about is the size of the game. As you can see on screen now, I have a few planets and areas available to me at the point in the story that I'm at. There is Pandora, Promethea, and I believe it's Athenas. And I'll tell you what, even just starting out on Pandora, this game is huge. Way bigger than Borderlands 2. And Borderlands 2 had a pretty good sized world. You had pretty big maps with a lot of little missions to do in them. Like you're seeing a map right now on this Athenas world. And this is a map that isn't even big enough, really. They don't have like vehicle spawns for you to use. It's a little bit more straightforward of an area, but it's big. And there are areas much more voluminous than this on Promethea and Pandora so far that have multiple vehicle spawns or catcher rides for you to use because they are so big and there's a lot to get to. Very impressive and a lot of verticality, a lot of I'd say depth to the game world. So good, kudos to them on that. Very making the world just a lot more expansive, a lot more places to go. Multiple planets, and I know there's a lot more that I haven't been to. And then there's customization. So as you're seeing on the screen right now, and my commentary won't completely follow what's on screen throughout this, but whenever I can, I'm going to take advantage of it. It's only a 16.5-minute video. I couldn't really put everything, all the different game clips in. But it's really cool because in Borderlands, generally, you get these randomly, the RNG, the random number generator, basically, spawn weaponry, and you get all these different features and looks and stuff like that. Certain types of skins go with Malawan or Jacobs or whatever brand weapons. In Borderlands 3, it's really cool because you can actually unlock weapon skins, and you can apply them individually to each one of your guns. So you can, make them all matching, to fit a theme, or you can make different types of weapons carry different themes on them. It's really neat to have the option. And the same goes for your character. And these things, they're either randomly found in drops, in loot drops, or you can purchase them with Iridium once you get to Sanctuary, which is, like a spacebound version of the city of Sanctuary that you experienced in Borderlands 2. But anyways, you can buy all these customizations there or find them in loot drops. Character customization is a lot better in this one too. Used to, you just had all kinds of different skins to pick, and they just were like a little bit different color or whatever, different patterns. This one has that, but then you can, as you saw on screen a moment ago, my character Mose, she's wearing like a Freedom something skin, which is basically the Stars and Stripes. It's red, white, and blue. I could, if I want, actually go in and change those colors. So I could do the Stars and Stripes pattern, the skin, but it'd be purple, black, and orange because Halloween, or whatever. And there's tons of different options. And this is, of course, you can swap out different heads that you can find, different outfits. Yeah, it's really neat in that sense. Plus, on the ship Sanctuary, which is really cool, it's basically, like I said, it's like your hub for everything. It's where all the non-player characters, and heroes that you find generally end up there, so you can pick up missions from them. They become part of your crew. It's almost like being on like a giant Borderlands version of Firefly, or excuse me, Serenity. But anyways, so it's Sanctuary from Borderlands 2. So you have all the different options. You got like Moxie's bar, you have Tannis for your medical stuff, and science stuff. You have, what's his name? Marcus, munitions. You have like all your shops and places to go upgrade yourself and the characters you interact with to do that. But then you also have your own like home room, which is your character's area where they like you can customize to some extent. I'm assuming each character has a slightly different room because there's like 3 other rooms that are closed off that are next to the one I have. So I feel like if you play a Siren, you'll get a different, cabin on the ship. But in Moses, it looks very mechanic, like it's a mechanic shop or something. Like there's a big gun on a hoist over here, and there's a table with like tools and blueprints and stuff. And in these cabins, you can actually put up little decorations that you pick up either throughout the game by completing missions or purchasing with Iridium as well. So that's kind of cool. Not much to do there. Interact with your bank where you can store like excess stuff that you want to be able to save is in there, but that's about it. The ship also has something called a lost loot machine, which is really neat. So you can actually access, like, say you kill an enemy and the weapons or loot that they drop falls somewhere that you can't access it. The game apparently remembers that, and if you go back to this loot machine and make sure to empty it before it fills, it'll pop all those things out for you to actually take a look at and see if you want to keep them or sell them or whatever. Anyways, besides all this, these are all some of the neat features I found interesting. The gameplay, the movement, the gunplay, all very, like, if you've played Borderlands, it's going to feel familiar, which is, great, because Borderlands gunplay and gameplay mechanics, the shoot and loot, is fantastic. It's like the godfather of shoot and loot games. And Borderlands 3 just comes back and improves on all that. Gives you a new slide feature, which is pretty nice, and you have the ability to clamber up edges, which, oh my god, every shooter needs that. When I played Doom, the new Doom, and it had that, I was so happy. I believe Halo has it now, and then Borderlands has it now. Like, every shooter ever, unless it's specifically something they don't want you to do, just needs to add that little feature. Like, come on, people can grab ledges and pull themselves up. So, the clamber, the slide, just crispness of the weapons and your movement, everything is just all that much better. Plus, at high frame rate, everything's gonna be smoother and more fun. So like I said, if you're familiar with Borderlands, this is like Borderlands on steroids. It's just Borderlands with more features and better. Graphically better as well. Like, it's the same cel-shaded, dirty, animated cartoon look with, like, it is realistic. Like, not realistic, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. It has really good graphics. It's very crisp and clean. Smooth edges, not, you're not seeing all the jaggies you saw in, past games, because it is running at 4K resolution. And then the lighting, I think, is vastly improved. It's not in the footage of this video, but I actually just made it to this asteroid base, and there's the light coming from, like, the star and around the planet and stuff, and it's beautiful on this asteroid. So the lighting is something that has definitely improved in this game as well. Music is great. The atmosphere is still that same, maybe I would disappear to this world if it was real type atmosphere. And then what I'm glad for? In this day and age when everything is politically correct and censored and all this, the Gearbox doesn't seem to have done that. For whatever flaws they have, they still have the same sense of humor that these games have carried since the beginning. No holds barred, not politically correct at all. And you know what? The characters are still allowed to have boobs. Like, it's so crazy to look at the games these days. Everything from the way they talk, to the way they dress, to the way they're designed, it's all been censored and changed for political correctness since about 2012, 2013. And it's very nice and refreshing to see somebody make a game for gamers. It's loud, obnoxious, brutal, fun, sexy, and stupid all at the same time. It's a gamer's game. So I'm going to say I'm very much impressed with Borderlands 3. I don't think that'll change as I get into it, but I think, you know, maybe I'll have more experience and can add some refinement to these statements later on and expand on them with the other DLCs and so forth. Like I said, this is at level 20 with the gunner character, and this is my experience so far that, you know what, if you like Borderlands before, you're going to like this one. And if you haven't played Borderlands before, you should really check it out anyways, because Borderlands 2 is out there and remastered. I believe Borderlands 1 is remastered as well for current consoles and will play really well. But I think this would actually be a really good first entry into the series. If you've never played it before, don't be afraid to jump in, because while there is previous history with these characters and the universe, it does a very good job so far of like just throwing you in there and saying, hey, this is what's going on, and you just kind of learn it as you go. All these games tend to do that. You're never like lost for what this world is supposed to be. So yeah, great experience so far, and if you have any feedback on this format, let me know. Like I said, I'm always changing it up, trying to explore how to make these videos better. And this is the first time I've done like a video game perspective using video and this long form. So hope you enjoyed it, and catch you later.